StormSmart can enhance and protect your home 365 days a year. With our smart hurricane and lifestyle products designed to keep the inside in and the outside out. And our over 100,000 plus installations, local manufacturing, comprehensive warranty, and the largest service department in the industry. Are you ready? Call now or visit stormsmart.com to schedule your free in-home consultation today and get guaranteed installation before hurricane season.
Time, weather, and
How you doing, everybody? I'm Chief Meteorologist Dennis Phillips. Heat, still the hot topic of weather conversation, right? Just smashed the previous record for rainfall in Tampa. It's still a very nice day. We've got some clouds out there, even a couple of sprinkles as another front rolls through the area. Most of us wake up to sunshine and then very warm temperatures in the afternoon. Our temperatures, they're going up and they're staying up. Really nice forecast, especially if you're planning on going to the beach or the pool. Rain chances very slim. Another beautiful day in store. It's going to bring us a very high chance of storms. Some isolated showers across the area. Mother Nature likes to remind us that it isn't set by a calendar. We're always on it for you just in case things begin to pop.
Streaming from the ABC Action Weather Center in Studio A. Dennis Phillips Live. Brought to you by StormSmart. Get guaranteed installation before hurricane season.
How you doing, everybody? Thursday night edition of Dennis Phillips Live. We have, as promised, we have a special guest, Kyle Berger, back from
Tokyo.
I want to hear about that. There's got to be some stories about that. We'll talk about that. Of course, with Kyle here, we got to talk about the Super Bowl. But before we get into that, I do want to let folks know. By the way, I almost forgot the ban button, and I ran back, and Kyle's like, ban button? I'm like, oh, yeah, we use the ban button. I keep my eye on the comments, and we use it. Thank you, Anita. I appreciate it. OMG at Wix was amazing last night. We had a very popular social media guy who is all about Florida. His name is Wix. His real name is something different, but on social, it's OMG, it's Wix. And his stuff is...
A comedian, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I have seen him.
So
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
He's so funny. So I was live tonight at the Florida State Fair. And if you remember, the last couple of days I've been talking about Peachy's Donuts, right? Peachy's Donuts. And they've got a couple of stores that they're opening up in Sarasota. And I told you that these donuts are about the size of a snow tire. It's about the size. I wasn't really exaggerating much. Check these out. These are, here, I'm gonna walk over.
They're chewy, they're good.
Yeah, you just had one, right? Is that the first time you ever had one?
Yeah, I'm gonna go get
look,
took it away from me.
So look, there is the donut. And so I brought some back for Nadine. And she also asked, Nadine, high maintenance, she's, oh, there's your donut, yeah. She's like, can you bring me back some lemonade? I'm like, sure. So I went out and I walked around the fairgrounds till I finally found the lemonade. But I thought to myself, if we put ice in it, it's going to be all like diluted and stuff by the time she drinks it.
Is that her lemonade, though?
That is her lemonade. I bought her a lemonade, but I said no ice in the lemonade. So the woman said, okay, but you got to remember when you get it, you got to shake it first and then add the ice. Because this is like, the fair food is the fresh squeezed stuff. I mean, it's good stuff. So we got Nadine's lemonade, we got our donuts, and tonight's treat night. Thursday night, are you familiar with treat night?
I'm familiar. Normally I'm not here at this time, but I saw there's cookies out there and donuts.
So this is a 30-year tradition here at ABC Action News. It started way back when with Marty Tucker, Brendan McLaughlin, Wayne Shattuck was the chief meteorologist, and Drew Swisher. And every Thursday night, they would bring a treat, and the staff would bring a treat. And back in the day, this was a high-end event. Like Drew actually rented a Good Humor ice cream truck and brought the ice cream truck for a treat night. And, over the years, it's kind of been up and down. And then we had one individual who brought a veggie platter on treat night. That will be a day that will live in infamy. I mean, I'm just saying.
We're having a Super Bowl get-together on Sunday, and your guy signed up for a veggie platter, Jason Adams. He's bringing a veggie platter. I'm doing the
But-
chips and salsa and go,
But that isn't just all desserts, right? I mean, that's legit.
No, well, pigs in a blanket probably.
yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, but
Okay, that's the only thing.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
just desserts. It's just treat night. Now, Walt Macaborski, who used to be an anchor here back in the day, now works in Austin, Texas, he would call it dessert night. Like, no. It's treat night. You got to get it right. So I don't know whose treat night is tonight, but I did bring a few extra donuts from Peachy's, and it's exceptional. So I was at the fair today. Today's day one, and it goes on until a week from Monday, I think. Yeah. And, I tried some of the fair food, and there's a lot of barbecue. There's like chocolate, or there's chocolate, everything, but there's chicken and waffles with maple syrup and some stuff. And then there's just a lot of pulled pork, a lot of brisket, that kind of stuff. And then, you got your traditional fair foods too, your funnel cakes and whatnot. But every year they do more. It gets crazier, right? Like Big Mac pizza. And now are you a fair food guy?
I've never been to the fair.
But what about fair food, like carnival fair food? I mean, you're in shape. Do you like?
I like funnel cakes.
So
I
you'll
do
eat
like
that stuff.
Like I like this donut a lot.
It's good, right?
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Did Paul get a cinnamon bun?
All right, so there's the story on that. So I'm doing my live shot at 5:30, right? And Paul Lagrone is anchoring. He's like, oh, I like the cinnamon buns there, Dennis. And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, what? Tell me a little bit more about it. Well, it's a green and white awning. And I'm like, and I had him pull out the whole shot of the entire 50-mile Florida fairgrounds. Like, hey, is there a green and white awning anywhere back there? There were no green and white awnings, but we did find him a cinnamon bun. Okay. I don't know if it's the one that he went to, but we did find one. So there you go. So what we got here tonight? We got Kim in Palm Harbor. We had a lot of folks, by the way, at the fair who came up. I probably did 2,413 selfies while I was at the fair, and I loved every one of them because it is so, and you know this, it's so rewarding to know that, not only are there some people out there who trust and follow and watch us, but they feel comfortable enough to come and talk to you.
Yeah.
And I would think from a sports guy's perspective, people can talk sports. They like talking sports.
Yeah, I get a lot of that just going to, and from the people see me walk around the concourse at a Bucks game or a Lightning game. You get the selfie. I'm on the field. People hand me the phone and take the selfie from behind. It's fun. They can talk sports all day.
Well, that's the thing. And see, I talk about this with our news anchors because it's me personally, you guys, I've talked about this a lot. I don't really have an interest in politics. I'm not a news guy. News is not my passion, right? So I think it's harder for people to come up and talk about a news event of the day, because I think they think of they go up to Wendy. And I'm not saying this happens, but I would think from my mindset, if you're going up to a news anchor, you feel like you got to talk about the news maybe a little bit. But when it's sports or weather, anybody can talk about the weather. And anybody can talk about sports.
But you get a lot of credit lately. The weather's been nice.
It has.
Perfect.
If it's going to take the blame when you get bad weather, you get to take the credit when it's nice. Although I will tell you something. This is a pet peeve of mine, and people know it. My DPL group knows it. We had a lot of DPL folks actually at the fair today. But so when I know a lot about sports. I am a sports guy. And I say that about everybody out there. You can, no matter what you do for a living, you can be an expert on sports, because sports is one of those things, if you really, really follow it, you can be an expert on it, right? It doesn't matter what your job is. And every now and again, like I posted something about the LeBron-Luka trade. And I said it was one of the biggest trades, and quite possibly, in my opinion, might end up being one of the worst trades in NBA history for the Mavs. And you get one or two guys who think they know everything about sports, like, oh, stay in your lane, buddy, stick to weather. I'm like, look, it's sports. We all can be well versed on sports.
Right. Yeah, everybody can have an opinion on it.
And they do.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you deal with it all the time with the Bucks and the Rays and the Lightning. I mean,
if you don't know your stuff, people will try to correct you, give you their opinion. I'm sure people are saying maybe the Wayne Gretzky trade was the worst trade ever, from years back after you won a Stanley Cup and they shipped him off.
Yep. Yeah. So anyway, and for me, there's nothing more likely to get you banned than make a comment like, oh, stay in your lane, or, oh, you don't know about sports, you're a weather guy. No, buddy, I actually really do know a lot about sports. In fact, I had done sports many, many years ago, and when working in a smaller market, I did weather, I did news, and I did sports, and I loved it. But, weather was kind of my gig. So speaking of sports, we are going to talk Super Bowl. We talked about the fair food. I do want to give you a quick update on the weather, right? Let's go ahead and give you a quick look at the forecast, because I do think we are going to start to see some pretty significant fog again tomorrow morning. So let's just go ahead and look at the forecast. There you have it. We have no rain, nor do we expect any rain anytime in the near future. There is a look at the temperatures right now, upper 60s to lower 70s, Zephyr Hills 72. Those inland areas, man, it was, and I will tell you, being out in the fair today, I mean, yes, I am old, and it's harder for me than it used to be, but standing out there in that heat for about 4 hours, you could feel it. I mean, it was in the middle 80s today in those inland spots. And we're still in the low to mid 70s from Brandon over to Plant City, back to Riverview. So at the fairgrounds right now, probably about 73 and clear. Nice little breeze going too. So here's what I was talking about. We are going to have some fog issues tomorrow morning again. I do think visibility will be a half a mile or less. And it is certainly yes, I am a huge Saquon fan, Chris. I will be wearing, I'm not an Eagles fan.
Penn State.
I will be wearing my Saquon jersey Sunday for the Super Bowl. I can't necessarily say that I'm rooting for the Eagles, but I'm definitely not rooting for the Chiefs. I'm not a fan of either team per se, but because I'm a huge Saquon fan, I will be rooting for the Eagles because I'd like him to get a ring. I think that would be awesome. After all the nonsense and all the crud that he put up with in New York with the Giants, and even, you know, after he left New York to Philly, and I get it, huge rivalry between the Giants and the Eagles. They hate each other. I get it. And there were some Eagles fans who thought it was a slap in the face of Saquon going to the Eagles from the Giants. But look, the guy had no offensive line when he was in New York. He had no support. He didn't have any help. And he ran himself into the ground. And it's amazing what can happen to a running back when he plays for a team with a good O-line.
Yeah, good O-line, good quarterback, good coaching staff, and he had 2,000-yard season.
Could have had the record. I mean, they asked him the last week.
And, they benched him last week. I think he wanted to play that game. It was more of a coaching decision.
And the coach talked to him. I mean, he did say, he's like, look, I'm thinking of sitting you. And Saquon did what I think a team player is going to do, whatever the team needs me to do. Because they were petrified he would get hurt going into the playoffs in a game that was meaningless in the standings in the last game of the season, but it would, if he had less than 100 yards, I think it was like 90-something yards, can't remember, 80, 90.
It could pay off because they're where they want to be right now.
Yeah.
Chance to win the Super Bowl with him healthy.
Yeah, and he's looked great. So, but anyway, a lot of Eagles fans on here. Yes, we are, Anita. But anyway, I when I read, and I see a lot of Giants pages on Facebook, and there's definitely a significant number of people are like, he's a traitor. No, man, he had, again, if you had an O-line, or you had a GM that wanted him, he would have stayed.
They chose to pay Daniel Jones. They had a choice to pay which player, and they chose the quarterback, and the quarterback's not even on the roster anymore.
And usually,
neither is the running back.
Well, yeah, it's true. I mean, usually teams will pay the quarterback as opposed to the running back because they have a longer shelf life. Yeah. I mean, it's true. But Daniel Jones was not the guy. I mean, if you want to pay someone like a Lamar, or now, for that matter, Jalen Daniels.
Baker Mayfield, he got his money.
Now, see that? Yeah. Baker was such an interesting situation because, and you certainly know about this, but, when he was in Cleveland, I don't think he was appreciated. I mean, you remember, he used to do those, was it Progressive commercials?
Yeah.
Those were funny. And he had that side of him that I had never seen before. I mean, I know of Baker, and I know of, his time in Oklahoma. And it was up and down, as a lot of college guys their age have. And he had some down periods. So, I wondered what kind of a player he was going to be in the pros. And when he went to Cleveland, he had some ups and downs. But those commercials came out, and they were very endearing. And they kind of made you, no matter what you thought of him prior to that, you kind of like the guy. And as we get older, I mean, look, I've lived that. I mean, as we get older and start to mature, you change and you start to realize perception is kind of important sometimes. And Baker has completely turned into one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL.
I think they were Progressive Insurance. And then he's making his home in the stadium.
Yeah,
he lost that at some point, that deal. It'd be great if he gets that back and makes his home in the pirate ship.
Yeah.
Bring those commercials back.
Oh, that's a great idea. I'm surprised they haven't because, I mean, even his interviews, you watch them and he seems like a matured individual. a guy with a family now, and he realizes how important the team is and what the perception is, and he's figured it out, and he has thrived. I mean, I argue again, he's one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I truly believe that.
And everyone likes him. He gives funny sound bites when he needs to. He can be serious.
Yep.
He feels like he feels like Tampa's made for him. Like you feel like you see him out having a drink at a bar, getting along with everybody.
Yeah.
He's the people's quarterback, and he's perfect for Tampa.
Yeah, and you're right. Tampa people, they love him. I mean, they love the guy. So anyway, let's get back to, you know me, I go on tangents. Let's get back quickly to finish the forecast for you, because I do want to talk about the fog in the morning. So again, temperatures right now along the coast in the 60s, inland in the middle 70s. This forecast ain't changing through next week. Every day it's going to be low to mid 80s inland. Every day it's going to be low 70s to mid 70s along the coast. And there will be those little green blobs, little green blips. That's fog. That's not rain. And we are going to see that. So I'll show you the fog forecast in a second. But our rain chances they're not zero early next week, Tuesday or Wednesday maybe, but pretty close to it. If we see any rain, it's just going to be because it's going to be so warm and muggy and the sea breeze gets going. So there's the fog forecast. Again, tomorrow morning, visibility is down near zero. So I suspect there will be dense fog advisories needed. Allie and Greg will be in with that to give you more if there are any issues. And it's going to burn off, but it's probably not going to burn off until mid to late morning for most areas. And then we're in for a really nice. You said you're going to a Super Bowl party on a.
Oh, I'll be the party here at the station.
Oh, that's right. You
I'm
guys work.
Sunday.
Yeah.
So we'll bring
Yeah.
in.
So you look for your Super Bowl party. It's going to be beautiful weather. I mean, not typical February weather for us. Our average high is about 72, 73. We're going to be about 10 degrees warmer than that. And there's a little bit of a cool down potential toward the end of the following weekend, but that falls into the category I'll believe it when I see it. I just don't think we're really going to have much of a front come through at all. So there you go. Highs each day in the low to mid 80s. Tampa, Lakeland East, probably middle 80s, and then Clearwater, mid 70s, as it will be a little bit cooler along the coast with that water temperature in the upper 50s. And Vicki says you have your air conditioning on today. So anyway, so there's your forecast. So let's go ahead and talk about the Super Bowl because it is legal in Florida. We can look right on our app, and it looks like the Chiefs are a 1-point favorite. If you were to lay it, you have to lay $1.15. For folks who don't know what that means, if you see minus 115, we'll take it in terms of a $100 bet. You have to risk $115 to win 100. So you bet 115, you get that 115 back, and you win 100 if you take the favorite. If you take the underdog, sometimes it goes in the opposite direction. You actually make more than you bet.
The lines changed, Dennis.
It's come down a little bit.
Yeah.
The money line, the Chiefs were 1.5. They're down to 1. So that means a little bit of the money is coming in on the Eagles. Here's my take, and I'm curious about your take on this as well. Shirley's like, go Niners. So, all right, if the Eagles win, here's my take. If you want to, and in my position, by the way, this is what I think is going to happen. If the Eagles win, who do you think is going to be the MVP on that team, on that game?
Jalen Hurts.
Or
Dallas Goedert, X Factor.
you're skipping the obvious one.
It's not.
You don't think it'll be Saquon. Well, here's why I'm saying why
It's a quarter. It's gonna be a quarterback.
Okay, well, you're right. It usually is a quarterback, but people love Saquon, and they love his story. Now, here's my reasoning, all right? Let me check what the current line is, but if you think the Eagles are going to win, I say, okay, if it's Jalen or if it's Saquon, maybe the smarter bet, instead of taking the Eagles to win, but take them as the MVP, because Saquon is plus 280, I believe, last I checked, to win MVP, and Jalen is plus 375.
Wow, that's
Exactly. So here's a little philosophy on this. If you think the Eagles are going to win, okay, and let's just use $10 as an example. If you think the Eagles are going to win, you could put $10 on the Eagle to win, all right? And if they win, you get your $10 back, because the game and the money line, they are plus 100. So you'd literally get your money back. You'd get your $10 plus another 10, so you'd have 20. But let's say you think the Eagles are going to win, and you believe it's either going to be Jalen or Saquon, okay? Well, you want to risk that same $10? Put $5 on Saquon plus 280. The payoff would be about 280, 140, $14. Okay, or so you would win $9. Or if Jalen wins, okay, you would win more than that. You'd win $375. So a $5 bet would be $18.50, $18.75, something like that. So it might make more sense to take them as, or if you just think it's going to be Saquon or Jalen, just go with one or the other. But my point is, in my opinion, I think you're right. The only two people who are going to win MVP is either Jalen or Saquon. So if you think the Eagles are going to win, maybe you put $5 on both those guys as big underdogs to win MVP, and you're going to make more money than you would have if you just take them purely as a even money bet for $10. That's my take. Now, what about the Chiefs? The Chiefs, you have to lay $1.20 to win, so you're risking $12 to win 10.
I really think the only MVP is going to be Patrick Mahomes for that team. I think. I don't think it's going to be anyone else.
Maybe Kelsey. Maybe.
Kelsey
plus,
he has a chance to go off.
Yeah.
In this game because Nakobe Dean is hurt for the Eagles, and tight ends have been going off the last two games against the Eagles. So Kelsey might be a good bet.
So I'm not sure what Kelsey is. Kelsey, I believe, was plus 3
for MVP.
Yeah. Hey, look. I think you're right. I think the overwhelming, and by the way, Patrick Mahomes to win MVP is plus 120. So honestly, if I were playing, I don't play the MVPs, but if I were, I think the smarter bet, okay, what would you rather do? If you're absolutely convinced that the Chiefs are going to win, okay, or if you think the Chiefs are going to win, who's going to be the MVP? Patrick Mahomes, right? So if that's the case, why risk $12 to win 10 when you could take Patrick Mahomes and risk 10 to win 12? Kind of a no-brainer.
Makes sense.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, unless Travis Kelce, he's the X factor. See, here's what I see.
Would you parlay that too, or no? Chiefs win and Mahomes.
You could parlay the two of them, yeah, you could. But remember, the parlay, you have to hit both.
Yeah.
So look, there's no way Mahomes is going to win that unless the Chiefs win. So it's probably a smart bet, yeah. But for some reason, I have this mental image of Travis Kelce scoring all these touchdowns, him winning MVP, and then proposing to Taylor Swift after the game on the field.
I was going to mention that's like the dream scenario for the NFL. The ratings would be through the roof.
Right? I mean, yeah. There's just something about me that makes me wonder if
he'll retire and that'll be it.
It is an interesting thought, and I wonder if there's a way. I wonder if there's a line on that. Well, Taylor Swift, are we getting engaged?
Well, she'll be there. She'll be there.
Oh yeah, you know she'll be there. So anyway, so that's the game. It's who do you like?
I'm gonna go with the Eagles.
You like the Eagles?
They should have beat them 2 years ago. And everyone's talking about the storyline of 3 straight Super Bowl titles for the Chiefs, but no one's really talking about a chance for redemption for the Eagles. I think that's motivating them more than anything because Jalen could have won MVP in that game even though they lost. He had such a good game, 3 touchdowns, but he had that one bad fumble right at the end.
Yeah. I remember. I think I've done a lot of analysis on this myself. The Eagles are the more talented team. They absolutely are the more talented team. The receivers are way more talented. I mean, A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith are really good receivers. And, oh, by the way, Kansas City is one of the worst teams. They are the worst teams statistically against tight ends in all of the NFL. So all of a sudden,
Dallas
Goddard.
That's why, yeah.
You know, personally, and I don't know what the number is, personally, I think, you know, also, I'm getting to this point. I wonder where these guys are like, oh, you don't know anything about sports. Yeah, listen up. All right. Dallas Goedert, that number has gone from 41, his over-under. In other words, you can bet on how many total yards a receiver will catch, either over that number or under. His opening number started at 41.5. It's now up to 51. So the whole world is betting on over the total yards because Philly has been using him like crazy. The middle of the field is typically what's open in the kind of defense that Kansas City plays, and Goddard eats, as is A.J. Brown. But but eats in the middle. And I think that the only thing that scares me, I don't like betting what the entire public likes. I usually go against the public because the public usually is a bunch of losers and lose their money. I mean, that's why Vegas is as big as it is with all the pretty lights, because we usually lose our money. So when I see a massive line change in one direction, I like to go against it.
And also the Chiefs have a top 3 running defense. So that's Saquon. I mean, he is great, but 112.5.
That's a lot of yards. Is that overall or rushing yards?
I think that's rushing yards.
Is it?
Yeah.
See, now that's an
112.5.
interesting point. I wonder if they might use him more, throwing it out to him in the flat, as a receiver, as opposed to, because you're right. I think it's going to be tough going for him to run on that KC defense. I mean, I love Saquon. I love the guy, but I wonder if it might be a little tricky for him. I'm rooting for the Eagles for that very reason, because I'm rooting for Saquon, and nothing would make me happier. But anyway, that's something. Now, there's also, I did notice too, Xavier Worthy is an interesting. The over/under on his total catches is 5.5.
Okay.
That's a lot of receptions.
Yeah. I mean, Mahomes has to throw to somebody. I mean, Kelsey's at 6.5. Hollywood Brown's at 3.5. 5.5 is a lot.
It is.
Worthy.
Well, now that Hollywood Brown is back, and by the way, Hollywood Brown came from Arizona and got hurt before the season even started. So, he was expected to be a pretty important part of that offense. And then all of a sudden, and then you got Juju. I mean, you got a lot of guys. I'm not talking about Juju as in don't mess with her, Juju, which is a Philly thing, by the way. If you've ever seen the movie Silver Linings Playbook, and which is my favorite scene in the whole. Great movie, by the way. Have you ever seen that movie?
Long time ago.
Great movie.
Yeah,
I love that
Cooper.
movie. Yes.
Yeah.
And Jennifer Lawrence. And there's a scene where Jennifer Lawrence walks in and Robert De Niro's like, oh, you're messing with the team's juju. And we're not talking about that. We're talking about the wide receiver for Kansas City. So they don't have an alpha outside of Travis Kelce like Philly does, but they do have a lot of choices for Mahomes, right?
Another thing I find interesting, rushing yards.
Jules said DeAndre Hopkins too.
Oh, yeah.
Diop. I mean, you got a lot of guys.
Mahomes has the over/under more rushing yards than Isaiah Pacheco.
Like 9.5. Wasn't Pacheco's 9?
He's at 22.5. Pacheco.
Who is? Pacheco?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm thinking of his longest run.
yards.
Yeah, that over/under on his longest run is 9.5. So 20. And you said Mahomes is more than that for
Mahomes is 29.5
for
on the
rushing yards?
Yes.
Wow.
Pacheco's at 22.5 and Hunt is 42.
Wow, that's interesting. I mean, it's one of those games where, look, they're going to leave it all out there. So if Mahomes and he has been running. He had 2 touchdowns last game, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, so that's interesting. But Joel, holy cow, Joel is here. Now, I'm going to tell you, Joel, I have thought about you. Joel was part of our original chat group from like 10 years ago. And I literally have thought about, matter of fact, I went on your Facebook page 3 months ago to see if you were still alive. And I'm totally serious, because Joel used to be a big part of our group and he fell off the face of the earth. So I'm absolutely floored that Joel is here. This is like, this is your life, Dennis. You have these people showing up from forever. So welcome, Joel. I appreciate you coming back. So anyway, get back. OGDPL, you're exactly right, Jules. So what is your prediction? Do you think, I'll tell you mine after I tell you, if you tell me yours.
Okay, I like the Eagles. I feel like an idiot going against Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, but I like the Eagles 28-24. It's going to be a close game.
So you like over the total. Total's
Yes,
49.5.
28-24. Everything tells me to go with the Chiefs because they always find a way. It's not the refs. People want to say it's the refs. It's not. They always find a way to win. Mahomes is just a winner, but I think this is a chance at redemption for the Eagles, and they get it done this time. Like I said, they're more talented in just about every position.
They are. They absolutely are. Reed, met you today at the fair. Go Bills. Gotcha. Thanks for stopping by at the fair. I appreciate it. All right, so streamers only have 40 seconds. I am going to give my prediction. The Chiefs are absolutely insane in one-possession games. They have won, I believe, 17 straight. I believe 17 straight. I know it was 11 straight at one point, but I think it might dating back to the playoffs. I think they have won 17 straight one-possession games. That is an ungodly number. And I simply can't see myself going against Patrick Mahomes in a one-possession game. I'm rooting for Saquon. 27-21 Eagles. Chiefs. Streamers, have a good one. Okay, so we're still on Facebook. Yeah, I'm going with the Chiefs. I'm rooting for Saquon and the Eagles, but look, we talked about it. The Chiefs are more talented wide receiver. No. The Eagles are more talented wide receiver. The Eagles are more talented at running back. The only thing that the Chiefs have, their quarterback, Mahomes, is better than,
and coach.
Their coach
and quarterback.
And tight end.
Yeah.
So overall talent, I think you're right. There's no comparison. I mean, the Eagles are a superior team. In fact, I think I'm not hedging, but I think it plays out either the way I said, 27-21 ballpark under the total. I am going under the total, 49.5, or the Eagles win by like 3 touchdowns. I could easily, because they are the better team.
And it's funny, the Bucs beat the Eagles this year and could have beaten the Chiefs this year.
Yeah.
In Kansas City.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I love this. The Eagles' defense is so good. I mean, I think that defensive line's going to be all over Patrick Mahomes, kind of like how the Bucs' D-line was all over Mahomes here in the Super Bowl, like running for his life. I think the Eagles' defense is so good. Hopefully Jalen Carter, he's been under the weather the last few days.
He's
a question mark, but I think he's not going to miss the Super Bowl for sickness. There's no way.
No. Everybody out there. Matter of fact, I looked on the Kansas City injury report. No one's listed.
Yeah.
No one. I mean, when's the last time you've ever seen an injury report? Kansas City, none. They're healthy. They're healthy at the right time. They got their receivers back. I mean, yet I think the Eagles are more. A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith are really, really good. And Dallas Goedert has been eaten in the last couple of weeks, and Saquon has been Saquon. So my heart is rooting for Saquon, but my head says I am never, ever going to bet against. I mean, I would just not bet it rather than bet against Patrick Mahomes because the guy is magic. I mean, he finds a way. He does. I mean, how many times do we see it?
Yeah.
I mean, how many times do we say, I can't, or the whole refs thing, you know? I'm with you. I think that's a bunch of nonsense.
I mean, the Eagles have only lost 3 games all year. They're 15-1 since like week 5 or something. I mean,
yeah, the Bucs, right?
The Bucs games, the last time they lost.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got the 2 best teams, although some people would argue Buffalo is better than the Chiefs. But hey, they played on the field and they didn't, right? But I just think, I don't know. If I and for the record, I'm not betting on the game. I'm not, because it's one game. You know, it's one game and everybody hypes it all up. Now, what our family does is we do a prop sheet, and everybody fills them in, and then we'll put in $1, and then whoever wins like $10 or something. And we do squares, where we draw squares for like a nickel a piece or whatever. So we do our thing at home. But everybody who just goes off on betting on the Super Bowl, to me, it's just a game. There's a million other games before that game. So why is this one a big betting thing? I mean, because it's such a spectacle. Now, I liked betting on, would the Super Bowl go would the Star Spangled Banner go more than 2 minutes or less than 2 minutes?
What's the
Those
longest?
are fun.
The longest is like,
I don't know, usually the number's 2:02.
Okay.
Usually
I
the
think
number's
2:30-ish is like the longest ever.
See, I think that's fun. I mean, I'll be sitting there with my stopwatch, you know, while it's on, and that's fun for me. And those are on the prop sheets. So if you're looking for something to do during the game, I strongly suggest going online and just Googling Super Bowl prop sheet, and you print it up, and then everybody who you're watching with can do it, and it's just fun. I mean, you can do that at your party.
Super Bowl, yeah, okay. Well, I'm going to look them up right now.
It really
Let's
is.
see what kind of fun things we can do.
Joel's talking about Sky Moore. Joel must watch or listen to John Hansen on Fantasy Sports on XM, because last year, John Hansen, who is a very knowledgeable fantasy guy, one of the most knowledgeable guys out there, was just raving about Sky Moore would be the king. He would be the best player last year, and he was absolutely the worst. He was nothing. So, all right, so who else we got here? Yeah, but anyway, those prop sheets are a lot of fun. I strongly
There's a
suggest
lot
doing
of
that.
different things here. Which iconic New Orleans cuisine will be seen on the broadcast first during the game? Gumbo, jambalaya, po' boys.
I would see. Those are the fun questions. I would guess gumbo.
Okay.
That would be my guess. And there's always how many? I guarantee you one will be. Will Taylor Swift join Kendrick Lamar on the stage for a song at halftime?
She should just do the whole halftime show.
Well, yeah, I'm sure the NFL would have the highest ratings in the history of the world if that were the case. But, things like that. And that's what these props usually are. What color is the Gatorade that is poured on the winning coach? Those are fun. And you know what? Ryan, my daughter, she's 10. She can do those because they're not ones that you need to have a lot of knowledge about football. Because let's be honest, how many people who watch the Super Bowl really know very much about football?
Yeah, it's a spectacle. It's people to gather together, and that's why they do the squares, because he's kind of get lucky on some of those.
Yeah, and the commercials.
Yes.
I mean,
oh yeah, the commercials. I did see the one with was it Uber? No, Matthew McConaughey. They leaked it out.
I didn't see
I
it.
think it was Uber Eats. It was.
He's been doing a lot of those lately.
It was a really good. It was really. You got to look it up. Basically, he's like, yeah, we invented this. We invented football to make people hungry, and then why is it called pigskin? Why is it called? It's.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
It's really good.
Yeah, and then he's with Jerry Rice.
No,
Oh, it's a different
one. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because at the end
It's
he's
like
talking
it's
to
like 2
Christian.
minutes long.
Because he's talking to Christian McCaffrey, and and he's like, and McCaffrey's like, nah, I don't believe that, because it's a conspiracy that Matthew McConaughey has that Uber Eats is with to try to sell food, and then he looks over and said, oh really? That's not the case. Jerry, what are you eating?
Rice.
He goes, rice. What I tell you. So, but I love those commercials too. Like what movie trailer will be on? Because there's always some big movie
I saw
trailers.
that. The Superman was one of them.
A full trailer?
Yeah, that was one of the prop bets I saw in here. It was also new Captain America movie. It was like which
that
one?
will, 'cause that opens next
Thunderbolts,
week.
the Fantastic. Here it is. Which one?
Fantastic Four.
Yeah, which one would be shown first?
Yeah. See, those are fun to me. So, now I don't know if you can bet on those in the Hard Rock app. That's interesting.
I didn't see those in the Hard Rock yet.
Yeah, I'm not sure because but my point is on prop sheets, it's a lot of fun. So, and now the Budweiser commercials, Julie. Now I don't want to get this wrong. I read Bud Light that they've stopped advertising. There's something going on with Bud Light. Either they stopped advertising the Super Bowl because of all the stuff that they've been going through in the last couple of years with the controversy that they went through. There's something regarding Bud Light in the Super Bowl, and it was either they're not going to advertise or they're going to do something entirely different. And I can't remember exactly what it was, but
So Julie said Budweiser.
yeah. I mean, well, I know Bud Light's doing something. I know, or they're not. I mean, it was a news story. And you got the Clydesdales. Mm-hmm. Those are always a cool thing as well.
The first one I always remember from a long, long time ago. The one that always stuck out to me was the frogs.
Yeah, they were. Was that Bud?
Budweiser.
Budweiser.
That's
yeah.
what I always remember from childhood.
Now, do you guys remember when they first started having the halftime spectacle? Because it hasn't always been like that. There's history behind it. So I don't remember what the other network was, but this was brilliant. So there was another network that advertised, we are going to have a live performance during halftime of the Super Bowl. So
change
the channel, and we'll get done before the game starts. And so you had a massive ad campaign. So you had all these billions of people changing the channel, and it was brilliant. It was brilliant. So then the following year, the NFL is like, no, we aren't going to get outdone, and they brought Michael Jackson. And that was when Michael Jackson came and started doing that. So, okay, so it was early. It was, it was in Living Color, and it was in the early 90s. Thanks, Hagen. Yeah, so, I mean, that's right. I do remember that. So, were you even born then?
What year? Yeah, of course.
Early 90s?
Oh, gosh, yeah. I was born in early 80s.
Yeah, he's a lot older than I would have guessed in a million years. I think I saw it was your birthday recently or whatever it was. But
I'm in May, yeah.
Well, I saw how old he was, and I'm like, Dang. I mean, because I would have guessed you're 32, 33.
Yeah, 10 years off.
Yeah. I mean, I would have really stunk at the carnival as the carnival guy. But by the way, you had said too that you just got back from Tokyo.
Tokyo,
I'm
yeah.
really intrigued by that. So what happened there?
Two of my friends from back home had this trip planned 8 months ago and invited me on the trip. I'm like, guys, you booked it during the NFL playoffs. You know, I'm busy. It's my busy season. And so I'm like, if the Bucs don't make the playoffs or they lose when they lost, I could book the trip at the last minute. So they lost against the Commanders, and I booked the trip 4 days out. I've never done anything like that before.
Oh, my head.
That's
a big trip.
They already planned the itinerary and everything.
Okay.
But I thought tickets would be so expensive booking that late. And a round trip ticket from Tampa to Tokyo was $700.
No way.
Yeah.
Did you? I mean, I would have no idea how much it would be, but did you get an amazing deal? Or how much is it normally?
It was $715 round trip. Normally it's a couple, $1,000.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. So you
got
get
the
a good 4 days before?
Yeah.
What'd you fly on? What airline?
Delta to Atlanta to Tokyo. 14 hours from Atlanta to Tokyo.
I've always wondered what a long flight like that is like. I've never done anything like
it,
that.
It wasn't
Is it-
bad. Like, okay, I watched like 6 or 7 movies. Like, I was so excited to go there, and I didn't sleep. I should have slept.
Yeah.
It just drained me when I got there. But on the way back, I think I jet lagged for like 4 or 5 days to get me back normal.
Yeah.
But it was such a fun trip.
$700.
Yeah, round trip, $700.
So where do you guys stay? Like
In Tokyo.
But you go hotels? or
Ginza, yeah, hotel in Ginza, which is there's like New York City has boroughs. They have like neighborhoods like Ginza's one of them, Shibuya, Harajuku, and they're all different, different types of vibes to them, I guess. And Ginza's like the ritzy shopping area, but we ended up taking a train up to Nagano one day, and in the wild there's like these snow monkeys. Like this is up north, like in the snowy area, and they have these hot springs. And in the wild, they all know the monkeys come down every morning to bathe in the hot spring, so you can just go hang out with the monkeys.
That's crazy.
And went to Mount Fuji one day, and it's.
Now, how much are hotels?
So I was there for 8 days. I paid $800, so $100 a night.
No way.
There's a snow monkey.
Show it. Good. Okay.
You can find I have it on Instagram. You can. probably
Okay,
see
yeah,
it
go
there.
look at it on his Instagram page. So you're telling me that you had 8 nights,
$800, $100 a night.
$1,500. Was that because you were sharing the room with somebody?
No, I had my own room.
That's
It's so
crazy.
cheap. It's so cheap. Everything, like next time I go, I'm gonna bring an empty suitcase and just buy stuff because the yen is so weak.
Right.
I bought a pair of Nikes who were like $120 Nikes here. They're like $70 over there, American.
So it was $1,500 for flight and room
yeah.
for a week.
8 days, 9 days, depending on how I figured out the time
That
change.
absolutely. Did you go at a time of the year where it's cheaper than other times?
It is. The winter is the cheapest. It's like the climate of Atlanta, low of 30, high of 50. So if you go in like end of March, summertime, that's the cherry blossom season.
Right.
And they charge a little more for hotels then. And food is so cheap and the food is so good. The street food, you're talking about like food at the fair.
Right.
Like you walk around, it's like different shops and around the street, all kinds of different foods they have. I had like this Japanese omelet, which is like a egg on a skewer mixed with like sugar. It's really good. And there's like this sweet.
That sounds like fair food.
This sweet rice dumpling I had. The food is so good. And then of course if you love sushi, fresh seafood, tuna, salmon.
I honestly thought a trip would be $15,000 out there.
No.
I mean, because I can't say that I've ever booked it. I really never traveled internationally. I did when I was a kid. When I was in high school, laugh at this. I was in a choir that traveled Europe. My kids still don't believe that I did this, by the way. They're like, "You're lying, Dad." I'm like, no, there was a 50-voice choir that traveled from the U.S. and we traveled all in Europe, and I was there for 6 weeks when I was a sophomore in high school, and so we got to travel, but I was too young to appreciate it. You know, I mean, when you're 14 years old or 15 years old, you're not going to appreciate stuff like that. So I've really never gone international since then. But I wanted to, but I just thought it would be too expensive. I cannot believe it was that cheap.
Yeah. Like I don't want to look back later on like 70 or 80, like, oh, I didn't I had a chance to go to Tokyo and I didn't do it. It's like I'm doing it. 4 days out, I'm doing it. But it was awesome. People are so nice over there. The city's so clean. The one thing that was really strange, like you walk around any big city, there's trash cans. There's no trash cans in sight.
I've heard that.
But there's no trash on the ground. Everyone.
So where does the trash
carry
go?
your trash.
Really?
Throw it away when you get home. It's so strange.
Unless you're an American, maybe, and then
It's so
'cause,
strange.
Yeah,
Oh.
I wonder. That seems like something we probably, as Americans, would not be big on.
And it was so easy to get around. I rode the metro everywhere. I mean, everything's in English because I think they were supposed to have the Olympics in 2020, so they kind of redid all the signage
Right.
for all the tourists. So it's so easy to get around, so cheap. I mean, metro cards.
I literally am going to look at that for next year. I am. Not, I mean, because, we would fly up to New York City, and we're going to go up there in the summer. It's kind of cool. I won a silent auction for Yankees. It's a suite at a Yankees game, and I got to choose which game I'm going to. So they're playing the Rays at the end of July. So, I got 4 tickets in the suite, and then the airfare and the hotel, and it was, I thought it was a great deal. It was like $2,200. But I could go to Tokyo. Wow, that just blows me away.
They're having the internet. It's the Japanese series or something before. It's the Dodgers and the Cubs are playing a game at the Tokyo Dome to start the season this year.
Yeah, I
International
heard that.
series.
Yeah.
And it's funny. You walk around Tokyo. You'd think they'd all have like Dodgers hats on because Shohei Ohtani.
Right.
Everyone's wearing Yankees hats. Kind of makes me sick. Actually,
Yeah.
honestly.
The Yankees are just that team,
Everyone has Yankees hats.
Yeah.
No Shohei anywhere.
That's shocking.
He has got billboards because he's promoting stuff.
Well, I was going to say, do you think that they like him less because he left and went to America and is playing in America as opposed to playing in Japan?
I don't think so. I
No?
don't think so. Yeah, because that's the big time.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just trying to explain it because you would think he would be the biggest hero of heroes.
Yeah, and then they just had another player leave Tokyo and come to the pitcher, Sasaki.
Yeah, I saw that. Man, that team, my heavens, the Dodgers are just, they're just loaded. I mean, and us little Tampa people were like, oh, we're so excited. We signed a new shortstop for $29 million. I can't believe we spent that much, which I can't believe we spent that much.
They signed the new pitcher when I was there, so I was recording the news. Like how colorful it is.
Yeah, that's wild.
This is like the news broadcast. You probably can't see it on my phone.
Oh, there you go. There's that camera there. Yeah. It is very vibrant.
Yeah, he's probably hard to see. But yeah, they're explaining how the Dodgers have all these international players and they have like little characters and everything's so happy over there.
Well, now you guys know. For anybody who's even thought about going to Tokyo, he went for $700 round trip air and $800 for 8 or 9 nights.
I did sit in a middle seat on the way back.
That would suck. That would be pretty terrible.
Slept half the time, though. Yeah.
But still, I mean, just that's crazy. So, but anyway, so let's recap. Fog tomorrow morning, all right? Burns off by mid to late morning, maybe some dense fog advisories. In fact, I'm pretty sure we'll see some dense fog advisories. Allie and Greg will be in for that. And then Super Bowl, your prediction again?
28-24 Birds.
28-24 Eagles, and who will be the MVP?
Jalen Hurts. Tush push. A couple touchdowns there.
So you are taking the Eagles in the over.
And I'm taking Jalen as the MVP.
Jalen as the MVP, who is plus 375 as the MVP. If you are looking at you're looking at wagering
For
on.
entertainment purposes only.
Yeah. Now, for me, no, you don't have to say that anymore. I don't think.
No, because they talk about it's on the ticker.
It's legal now. I mean, you're right. It used to be whenever you would watch, and Al Michaels, who is a man who likes to wager, and he used to always do Monday Night Football and would throw out the little tidbits like, the game isn't over yet, as someone was driving with a minute left in the game as it was approaching the over-under on the total. And but now it's legal in so many states, including Florida, that and they would always say for entertainment purposes only, because you weren't supposed to reference the fact that the reason that the NFL is so popular now is because of fantasy football and because of gambling. Yeah. Period. It just is. I mean, I will make that argument to the end of time. That fantasy football and betting on football is why the NFL is massively popular.
So we're having sports chit chat. I forgot to mention, in Tokyo, I went to sumo wrestling.
Oh, did you really?
Yeah, so there's 3 tournaments a year in Japan. And they rotate each city. So luckily, it was in Tokyo when I was there, and it's a 15-day tournament. And these guys are so like famous in Tokyo. Like they all have their stage names like Polar Bear, Flying Monkey, and
Okay.
they get excited.
Real quick, I have to interrupt you. I'm sorry. Okay, this is happening. We have a spam from Craig. So go to ban all live streams and the afterlife. Craig, confirm. Craig is gone.
That's what we're here for.
See you later, Craig. Actually, we won't see you later. You might see us. No, you won't see us either. So anyway, go back. So can you wager on sumo wrestling out there?
Probably. I mean, my app wasn't working in Tokyo.
So anyway, but point being is in terms of my prediction, look, I am rooting for Saquon for the MVP. I am rooting for the Eagles because I've seen the Chiefs win it enough. But I just think at the end of the day, as I said earlier, I'm going to make my prediction. My prediction is 27-21 Chiefs, but I want another one-possession win because, as I said, I believe the Chiefs are 17-0 their last one-possession wins.
Do you think it's good, I guess, for the league if there's a dynasty like this, a three-peat?
I mean, the Niners were like that, back in the day. And I mean, if you're a Chiefs fan, it's certainly great, and most everybody else just hates them because of it.
I think everyone's like, the only states cheering for this
is Kansas.
Kansas City and Philadelphia,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Well, and Eagles fans catch grief, sometimes with good reason, for being as
Nasty fans.
Yeah, I mean, they're
We've seen it
very,
here.
look, I went to Penn State. I knew a ton of Eagles fans. They are very knowledgeable. They are very passionate fans, and kind of like Giants fans too, by the way, and Jets fans. They have no tolerance for lousy play, and they let you know. I mean, they are not opposed to booing. And there's the whole, they booed Santa Claus, or they threw snowballs at Santa Claus. Look, it's probably one or two drunk dummies who just did that, and then the whole fan base gets a reputation. Yes, they are passionate. Yes, they don't put up with nonsense, but they're extremely knowledgeable fans. They know the sport. And so anyway, as I was saying, for me, I would go Kansas City and under, but if I'm wrong, certainly could be. And I'm not betting the game because, again, it's just one game, and I don't feel that passionate about it either way. There were many other games throughout the year that were much better to wager on, in my opinion. But if I'm wrong, I think it's because, as we said, the Eagles are just a very talented team with, in my opinion, far more talent than the Chiefs, and I think they win by 3 touchdowns. So I would go literally 37-17 Eagles or 27-21 Chiefs. And I'm not hedging. My pick is the Chiefs, but if I'm wrong, I think I'm going to be really wrong in the sense that the Eagles will win that game rather easily. That's kind of the way that I'm thinking. So, all right. So I think that's about it. You guys, good luck if you decide to play the game. And I would say this again, thank you for coming. And by the way, thanks for sharing all that, the tidbits about that travel stuff. That is amazing.
Yeah.
That is great. Cannot recommend it enough. Go Google Super Bowl prop sheets, download it, and have it at your house or your party. It's a lot of fun. It's free. Obviously, you're just doing it from something that, and it's it makes the game far more enjoyable if you're kind of lukewarm on football. And how many songs does Kendrick Lamar play? What's his first song going to be? All of these kind of props. I think they're a lot of fun. So thanks for stopping by. And I'm going to be honest. So I forgot that there was supposed to be a DPL tonight. It was 7:22, and I had just come in from the fair, and I had already called Master Control and said, I'm not going to do DPL today because I'm not going to make it in time. And I walked in at 7:22, and I saw Kyle walking in. I'm like, oh,
You
man.
messaged me yesterday asking me to come on.
I did. I messaged him Tuesday.
Was it Tuesday?
Messaged
Okay,
him
Tuesday.
Tuesday to come in, and I totally forgot. And it's on Slack, and I never ever check
just
Slack.
text next.
Ever. I should have texted. And when I saw him, I'm like, but I'm glad we did because this was fun. Yeah. So thanks for stopping by. Good luck on whoever you're rooting for, and we will see you on our next edition of Dennis Phillips Live. You guys have a great night. Thanks for stopping by.